Tom Peters once coined the term culture eats strategy for breakfast, citing that brilliant execution is more important than brilliant strategy. In the same way, I believe that communication eats culture for breakfast, given the critical role that communication plays in the building and the sustaining of a healthy culture. Communication needs to be looked at in two parts, the transactional and the transformational. Transactional communication is the day-to-day communication that makes business happen. It's the conversations between colleagues and with customers and suppliers. And for many businesses, it's the only type of communication that happens within the walls of their organization. But it's not enough to build healthy culture. The second part of transactional communication is the sharing of information. Every employee desires to know about information or matters that affect both them or their teams and their organizations. Information almost always leaks, and when employees find out about matters that affect them outside of the organization or from people other than their leaders, it leaves them feeling devalued, it erodes relationships and trust, and therefore culture. This is a culture quick win. Communicate early. Yes, you're going to have to keep a tight lid on stuff, but as soon as you're able to share information, then go ahead and share it. Communicate often and as regularly as possible, keeping your staff in the loop around what's going on inside of your organization. And communicate sincerely. This is not a tick box. This is about communicating information to members of your organization who are valued and are a critical part of making that business work. Transformational communication is the communication that builds and sustains healthy relationships. You don't just speak to your spouse about grocery lists and school fees. In order to maintain a healthy relationship and build a healthy family culture, you have to communicate deeper than that, deeper than the transactional. In the same way, working teams need to communicate deeper than the transactional. I recently spent time with a school who believes that culture underpins their ability to achieve the results that they do. And in asking the learners at that school how they maintain a healthy culture, they spoke about the concept of circles. And what happens when issues arise and relational tensions arise is they leave the classroom environment and they form circles outside of the classroom to deal with those tensions. They leave the transactional environment and they engage with the transformational in order to restore relationships and rebuild a healthy culture before they plug back into the classroom and continue with the syllabus. It's communication which leads to culture, which leads to results. Rather than adopt the press on and ignore strategy, perhaps it's time for organizations to consider a stronger relationship between the transactional and the transformational aspects of communication. The transactional is already taken care of, but for many teams, they know the importance of transformational communication and yet have simply ignored it due to the pressures of our daily working environment. It's time to begin to communicate a bit deeper around our relationships, ensuring that we maintain healthy relationships, which in turn is healthy culture, which underpins our ability to achieve results. For other teams, culture is eroded to the point where it may be toxic or really unhealthy, and for you the journey is greater. But it is critical that at this point we stop and we ask ourselves, how do we engage in the transformational communication that is going to bring our culture back to a place that will ensure that we can maximize on the potential of our team and therefore our organization. The strong combination of both transactional and transformational communication will set any team up for success